Welcome back to the Wildest Ride podcast. On this episode, we will be going over our rankings for our houses for HHN 34 in Orlando, but we bring in a special guest to do it. I am your host, Brian California, and with me as always, we got Big Texas.
Hey, howdy, hey, what's up, everybody?
What's going on? Well, we're bringing in the big guns here to help us out. Huge guns. Huge. The biggest gun we've ever brought in.
The biggest guns you could ever have.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing in Ryan from For the Love of Theme Parks.
Hi. Could you refer to me as Big Orlando from this episode? I know you mentioned the big guns, but listen, that's the name I would like to be identified as, is Big Orlando.
I thought we agreed on Big Windy.
I am technically from Chicago originally, so maybe Big Windy would be good. As long as you don't say like Wendy, then I feel like I'd just be like.
I'll emphasize the I. Big Windy.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. I do love Wendy's. Don't get me wrong.
Hey.
But
I don't know. Wendy's doesn't love me. It used to love me. It doesn't really love me anymore.
So if you could get like an endorsement deal, would you want an endorsement deal with Wendy's?
I mean, probably Chipotle. I mean, that's a much, if it's food wise, that or Portillo's would be amazing, because obviously being from Chicago, that's the godsend of all fast food. Culver's would be great. I don't know why we're here to talk about HHN. I don't mean to keep going on about fast food.
Oh, I would just say we go off the rails here on the Wildest Ride. But my number one endorsement deal would have to be Dude Wipes.
Oh,
definitely Dude Wipes.
Dude Wipes is a good one, man.
It might be a lot easier than you'd expect. We follow each other on TikTok, and they've tried sending me stuff before, and I was like, I'm okay. I don't want to. This is burning this bridge. But they were like wanting me to do videos for free, and I was like, I don't want to just make an ad for somebody for free. So. Anyway.
Oh, you won't be burning any bridges here. I'll do it for free. I do one from the restroom.
oh boy. All right. Yeah. I do want to do a little housekeeping. We have a little QR code at the bottom there. It's going to link all over our social media, so go follow that stuff. I'll be linking Ryan's stuff below too. If you don't know who Ryan is at this point, you're watching this, you're wild. But anyway, yeah, so we're doing that. And then I also want to, I just want to clarify, I'm not wearing a Houston Astros hat because I'm not a cheater. I am actually a Dodger fan, world champions, things like that. Just wanted to clarify, just in case anybody was confused.
Wow.
But anyway, we're here to rank our HHN houses for Orlando, which we did the event together, which was fun.
Real quick.
Huh?
I'm gonna just interrupt real fast. What do we think about HHN this year overall?
I loved it, to be honest. Like, are we going to put like a grade on it?
Sure. You can put a grade on it. That's fine.
I probably thought it was better than last year's, to be honest. I'll give it an A-. I really enjoyed it. But that's coming from somebody who does Hollywood every year, so I don't know. You can take that with a grain of salt.
I feel the same. I would say about an A-. I thought this was a step up from last year, and it was just. I mean, normally HHN brings good vibes and stuff like this, and I thought the houses they had this year, like, I was looking at my list, I was like, dude, there's probably really two houses I really didn't care for. Other than that, I was like, this was a solid year.
I feel like I automatically will take into account other factors from just like the haunted houses and the scare zones and how things like play out theatrically. And also mention the crowds, because this has been the worst year. It's crowd-wise, it's ever been for Halloween Horror Nights. In terms of trying to enjoy the event without waiting 3 hours for each house and all of that. So, I mean, if you're taking that into account, I would give this year, and this is again creatively, I think this is probably like a B+, A- year. For Halloween Horror Nights, but because of the crowds, I'd say it's about a C or a C-, which I again, that's simply because of the amount of people that were attending this year, and it's going to go up from here, but it's also, this year has been a learning thing for me and people that I go with too, of just like how to enjoy the event in a different way rather than just like, oh, house, go see the show. Like just finding different ways to enjoy the event and really like, spend a lot of time in scare zones. Like I don't know, like you gotta pivot as a local, which I know you guys only were. I know Brian was only able to go one night, and then Christian went 2 or 3 nights this year.
I went 2 nights. I tried to go last night, but the ticket was sold out.
Yeah, last night at time of recording was the very last night, and almost I think every night the last week was sold out. And obviously that was Halloween week, but also like last night was November 2nd. Like I thought people were done with Halloween. But no,
Right.
nobody was done with Halloween. Everybody, it was the busiest night I had ever seen at Halloween Horror Nights last night. The crowd, like the streets were packed. Everything was like almost a 2 hour wait or more. I think Terrifier topped off at 3 hour wait last night, and then
wow.
dropped down to like whatever 20 under a 3 hour wait by 2 a.m. It was ridiculous.
How many houses did you do last night?
Only two. We did Terrifier, which was a time. And we did Gulkin, which was only like a 45, 50-minute wait. And that was the best run we had ever done of that, one of the original houses, the Gulkin Monsters of the North. And we were just like, you know what? Why would we try to do one more? Let's be done. Let's leave. Terrifier was great too, so it's a good way to end the night. But normally last nights of the event, it's like, okay, we could do all 10 houses in like 3 or 4 hours, and and now it's just everybody. It was just such a popular year.
Right. Yeah.
I agree.
Well, that's the case. Do you guys want to? So, should we just rotate our rankings 10-1? Is that how we're gonna do this?
Yeah, 10-1.
All right. You want to start it off, Ryan?
Sure. And now before I start, I would like to say all of these houses were really, really good. If I could give a top 5 and then the bottom 5 would be tied with number 6, I would. But the bottom 5 are there because they're not in the top 5. Including my number 10, which is a haunted house at Halloween Horror Nights Orlando called Dolls Let's Play Dead. That is one of the tent houses. I really, really enjoyed this house. The reason I put it at number 10 is because there was a smell of burning plastic in this house that really irritated my senses. But other than that, it was a cool house. They had cool multimedia projections and some Easter eggs to old Halloween Horror Nights themes and characters and stuff like that. So I did like the house. I just put it number 10 just because of that. Sorry.
Did you get to do the light? Did you get to do the lights on tour?
Yeah, actually, yeah. This is a good thing to mention too, which I don't want to be talking most of the time, but I have, out of everybody here, because I went close to 30 nights of Halloween Horror Nights Orlando this year, I have been through these houses a lot more. That's kind of the reason why they called me in for this one. But I also took a behind the scenes tour of 9 out of the 10 different haunted houses this year, because that's what they offer, only 9 out of the 10. So most of these I have also been through in a lights on tour, being able to see little different Easter eggs and stuff like that from this past year, which was amazing. Definitely recommend doing those tours if you can, budget wise or time wise, because it does take a lot of time. But yeah. Again, all these I've been through, except for Freddy's. I did not go through 5 nights at Freddy's with the lights on because that was not included with the tours this year.
So, do we want to each say our 10 and then go 9 and stuff like that?
How about we go? He'll say his 10 or his number, and then we can
5?
just feed
we
off.
Do like I do 10 to 6, and then everybody does their 10 to 6, and then we go to the top 5 or something like that. Because I feel like if we're all going around and saying our 10, and then it's like we're going to see a lot of repeats like that. But I feel like we
can just say where we put dolls and then feed off of it.
Oh yeah. That could work too. Yeah, I don't want the whole thing to be based off of mine, but also I feel like I feel like that we'll then spend a good chunk of time talking about dolls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then move on, kind of. Where'd you guys put dolls?
I had it at number 9. So that was my 9th favorite house. And then again, I think it was, for me, I had one run in. in that house. And again, that smell that you mentioned was part of the reason why it was. There was something about it that was like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And again, the creepy doll faces, I can't do that. It's just that was most of the time I spent kind of like kind of just not wanting to stare into these doll faces. So
In
I
Tex
had it at 9.
9. Ooh, what did you guys put it? I'm not gonna ask. I'm not gonna ask what you put at 10 because we will get there.
yeah,
Yeah, I had it at 9. It was creepy, but not in a good creepy, if that makes sense.
Okay, well then say everybody. Okay, this is going to be because we're in the bottom. We're the bottom of the ranking right now for a lot of these. Say a positive thing about the house that you remember, and it can't be. I got to go through it with some great friends. You can't say that.
that's my cop out for everything, man. What are we doing here?
I will start. This is going to be an easy one for me, at least. I enjoyed that they included this fictional Halloween Horror Nights company called BuzzCon that was based off of this old house. Within this house, they had batteries that were from the company called BuzzCon that were like attached to like a toy or like they were like just leaning against a wall, stuff like that. So there's a little Easter egg in there that I really enjoyed from an old favorite house of mine that was actually in the same tent a couple of years ago. So there's my positive.
All right, well, just
My
go for it. Go for it.
positive, my positive is, I would give them credit for at least trying something different. Going out a little left field. Sometimes you're just not going to hit the mark that you wanted it to, and I felt like, although it was creepy. It was just a weird creepy for me that was like, I don't really like this a whole lot. So I'll at least give them that. It was creative.
Yeah, aside from me, so like even though I didn't want to stare at these dolls, wax dolls, the costuming was pretty awesome. Like the way they did all that stuff was.
And just the
I
variety too, which is like with a lot of the haunted houses, if it's like a cowboy house, all the costumes are basically going to look like a cowboy or like that old time period. But it was all these different dolls had different, a
Yeah,
different feel to it, So
yeah, that was pretty cool.
okay, well I guess going on to my number 9, which I think will be similar for a lot of other people, or their number 10, a haunted house at Halloween Horror Nights Orlando called Grave of Flesh. This is one that took place in one of the sound stages. It was the only non-intellectual property house in the sound stages this year. And you just go into a grave, and you just go underground, and you make your way to the bowels of the ground. And there's more dead things. There's some creative stuff, but a lot of it is like samey kind of thing. On the backstage tour, I did appreciate it more because you were with the like house lights on, not like show mode. You could see a lot more detail in the set than you wouldn't have before, mainly because you're going through these different layers of earth. You could see the different it's like it changes little colors, but because it was all like washed out blues and grays and stuff in the lighting package, you couldn't really tell that during the event itself. But I still enjoyed it, and the cast in there was really doing their best. I'll say that. Where did you guys have Grave of Flesh?
I had Grave of Flesh at 10.
As did I.
It's the most generic haunted house theme. Oh, a graveyard, like, and ghosts maybe, which there, I guess technically might have been ghosts in there. I don't know, but and I think it's just a classic haunted house theme, and it was a solid house. The one positive I have from this house, which I don't want to take away from anybody else's. If you have this one as well, that's perfectly fine. You entered through the graveyard and you like walked into like this wall of dirt, and you look up and it looks like they have like a cutout of like you are 6 feet deep, like you were just buried. And you could see the tombstone up there, and you could see there's like a shovel stuck in dirt. And there was a bunch of like water dripping in that scene too, which got a lot of people I was with in the eyeballs, which was really great to see. Because I would be like, "Oh, look up at the grave," and then it just like drip right in their eyes.
You
Not
did.
that I did that on purpose, but
Well,
yeah,
that
that
happened
was
to
my.
me.
I think that was my example. I was like, I didn't know if it was you or if it was somebody else, but yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, that was
Any
fun.
other positives from this one?
Um,
There's. It's not like it was a terrible, terrible house. It just I don't know what a positive would be. It just wasn't as good as the other
A
ones.
short wait.
it, the,
There we go. Short
well,
wait.
yeah, that's one good thing. No, that house felt like one continuous scene. Like it felt very similar all the way through. I don't know if that's really the case, but from what I remember, I went through it twice. I remember I that was actually the second house I did, and then we went through it later again that night. But I I guess just the aesthetic of it's just different from any of the other houses completely. So I like that they didn't just do another factory house or something stupid like that. Like just they went with something completely different.
And that
I
was
agree with that.
yeah. I feel like we might see more stuff like this in the future. Not in a bad way, but maybe with more pizzazz to it, or like an IP attached to it.
And
Something like that.
some of those corridors were pretty tight. So
Yeah, that it was a
Coming
very
to
claustrophobic house for sure.
yeah.
coming to HHN Las Vegas, Grave of Flesh.
Hey, listen, we'll see how long that place lasts. Anyways, so my number 8, which please hold the objections till after I'm done explaining. My number 8 out of my top 10 for Halloween Horror Nights Orlando 2025 is WWE presents The Horrors of the Wyatt Six. I am a lifelong wrestling fan. I
Are you?
Doesn't sound like it.
just because I'm a lifelong wrestling fan doesn't mean that I have to think every single wrestling match is amazing. I think story wise, I think costuming wise, I think everything in this house was great. Design layout of the house, I was not the biggest fan of. And I think it did slightly alienate a lot of guests that were not a fan of WWE. So if you were to go through this WWE Presents Horrors of the Wyatt Six house, you'd first enter through like you're like in the arena and you're entering the backstage area of a pro wrestling show, and you are in this office/production area called gorilla position is what they call it in wrestling for those who might not know wrestling or watching. And it's like almost a carbon copy of what it looks like, in real life. But for people who are not wrestling fans, it's just like, why it's supposed to be a haunted house. Why am I walking through this like chrome LED weird office space that has like a production list on the wall that has coffee stains that are awkwardly covering certain wrestlers' names who may or may not have been on the show that night that they don't want to share because they're listed in current ongoing lawsuits or things like that. But and that's and I'm not just saying that from like a general guest standpoint. I did enjoy the house. I went through there a bunch. I know a couple of scare actors within that house as well. But I think my big thing with Halloween Horror Nights is I love walking into either the front of the house or there's a moment in the house where it builds up and then there's a big reveal of a big scene that happens. And it's like, oh, like you forget that you're in a haunted house for a second where it's like, oh, okay, like it has the ebbs and flows. It's got, and I feel like this house was just like a hallway and then another hallway and then another hallway. And there was there was one, obviously there, if you had been through here, there was a scene where you go through the big, you go into the old Wyatt family house compound, whatever it would be. And that is a slightly big reveal, but because of the layout of it, it just didn't feel big.
Right.
And that's my big thing. From a haunted house standpoint, take out WWE. This would be at number 8. And I'm going to try to do that with a lot of the IP stuff. And I know you guys ranked it higher and you have a lot that you loved about the house, which I will get to the one scene that I loved a lot in this house. But what did you like a lot where did you rank WWE Presents Horrors of the Wyatt Six?
I had it at number three.
Wow, three. Okay, okay.
Dude, I really like the house. Like, I'm gonna be biased here, and I think bias is fine with a top 10 stuff like that.
Yeah,
But Bray Wyatt was such a big figure for me in WWE. Like, he was probably one of my favorite wrestlers. Like, if I'm tuning into a Raw or SmackDown, or I'm watching something on YouTube, a lot of it probably had to do with Bray Wyatt. So with his passing unexpectedly, that took me for a shock. And I just remember watching when the Y6 debuted and they had that whole scene in the production at Gorilla. I was like, yo, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you kind of, for reasons why you probably didn't like it, I loved it. That you got to relive, you got to walk through the production scene of, basically them attacking the agents, them attacking Chad Gable. I thought that was great. I thought that was really cool. And I would say, if Bray Wyatt was still around today, I think he would love that house. It was so cool. I love that they had the Fiend, that they had Alexa Bliss, and I even like that they had like the Y6 got to be a part of the house for like a night or something like that. I thought that was very cool. Well done. You don't get to see that often at a HHN. Them being scare actors. Thought that was really well done. My only complaint for the house is during the whole the swamp scene, I really wish they would have had Bray Wyatt as the eaters of the world. They maybe had somebody be Luke Harper. I don't know for behind the scenes why they couldn't do it or something like that, or
he was on.
maybe they just
There's a within once you enter the house during the swamp scene, there is a glitchy type projector that's showing stuff, and they do show Luke Harper on there.
okay.
He's not in any physical picture in the house, I don't think, or anything but his name is on one of the VHSs in the on top of the TV in the Firefly Funhouse scene. But yeah, he is in the house because and especially if they're using his WWE name and just a video that existed from when he was in WWE, they could use they own his likeness from stuff that they filmed, but they just can't have a scare actor as him. They can't stuff like that. So
Okay. That would have been my only nitpick, but I loved it. I don't really anticipate them maybe doing something like this again. Just because, wrestling fans are such a niche, and overall, minutes wise, what was the average you think for the White Six this year, Ryan?
yeah, weight wise, probably anywhere between 25 minutes and 50 minutes for the weight, and that's a great weight for a house for most Halloween Horror Nights years. But this year it was definitely the least popular intellectual property house.
Yeah.
But one thing to keep in mind, which I know it's not the case for any of us, but it did bring a crowd to Halloween Horror Nights that would never ever consider buying a ticket previously.
Yep.
I don't know exactly what those numbers are. I don't know if Universal knows what those numbers are, but people showed up just to see the WWE house that never would have considered buying a ticket before. So I do think whether or not it's the most popular thing, it is bringing in a different crowd. And I think it is possible in the future to see more WWE stuff. Maybe not for a couple of years, but I think down the line we could see more stuff. Probably not another Wyatt Six one, but maybe a classic WWE one would be great. I would love to see, everybody would, honestly, I know most people would prefer a classic or a highlight reel of wrestling horror stuff, but I do think it's possible in the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I had it at number 4.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. I think though it's a lot. I'll compare it to the one in Hollywood in a bit, but it's completely different from the one in Hollywood. This one has a lot more of a wrestling feel to it. So this one has you enter through the stage area, go backstage, and you're going through Gorilla, do all that stuff, and then you're kind of going into their world eventually. And all those things you said about the little Easter eggs is what I really enjoyed about it. I just, you look around, anything you can see, you're like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. That's a cool throwback, like the little wardrobe that was there that had pretty much his entire wardrobe from his career, stuff like that. That's what I really, really enjoyed. the I wish they would have done the Swamp House reveal a lot better. You're right. It's just kind of coming around a corner, and you don't really notice it until it's a little too late. You're like, oh, okay, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And then I think they had a little more Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, like tributes in this house than they did in Hollywood, which I enjoyed that a lot more. But it is a completely different house in Hollywood. Hollywood is more of an actual scare house. They not a lot of wrestling really in it unless you really know what you're looking for. And the house in Hollywood is also a lot. The wait time was probably the lowest out of anything in the lower lot. So it was continuously less than 25 minutes. You can get at the end of the night, you can go walk through that thing 5 times in a row if you wanted to.
I guess a good question, because I only watched a partial walkthrough of the Hollywood version of the house. You mentioned it was like kind of more of a scare house, which is that I don't know if that's I'm still fairly new to the haunt stuff as well. I've only been going for the past 5 or 6 years. But were there scare actors in there that were not wrestlers? Were they just like generic, like a weird like masked ghost thing? Because there was 1 or 2 in the Wyatt Six house in Orlando.
Yeah.
Was it all like Wyatt Six members or?
They had the Wyatt Six members, and then they had a bunch of other random like masked characters that, unless it's a deep cut that I don't know about, I
don't think any of us would not know these.
Yeah, so I'm like, this might be even a deeper cut or something, but no, there's definitely other type of monsters that aren't related to the Wyatt Six in there for sure.
They weren't like zombified versions of the new Nexus, like Husky Harris, and also I can't even quote any other members of the new Nexus.
Oh jeez. You know what? If the Husky Harris, I went through that house maybe 9 times in Hollywood. If the Husky Harris thing went over my head, I'm really disappointed in myself.
Yeah, they have like the belt, and there's a CM Punk scare actor that's like hitting him with the belt from that one episode of Raw. I don't even listen. I barely remember that era, but
there's a scene in that house that's really cool. You're walking into a room, and you know how they do that like Pepper's Ghost effect in some of the houses where it just looks like a wall, and then all of a sudden changes into something else. Well, they have like one where it's a wall, and then it changes, and behind that wall is Alexa Bliss kind of swinging, it's really cool. I like that effect a lot, and the only thing about it is that effect takes a little bit of a time to reset. So like out of the 9 times I went through it, I missed it like 4 times.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's not a really good reset time on that one. But overall, go back to the one in Orlando since that's the one we're talking about. I really enjoyed it just for nostalgia. Like Bray Wyatt's my 3rd favorite wrestler of all time. Like I have a video on my personal channel of me reacting to him winning the title for the first time, and it got a bunch of views and stuff. But it was like he was legit my favorite wrestler at that time. I mean, aside from AJ Styles and Kenny Omega, he's my favorite wrestler ever. Like that's. So going through that thing, I was honestly like thinking of my wife, because it was like we both love Bray Wyatt, and we were like kind of just like, oh man, this she would cry going through that house.
One of my biggest regrets was during WrestleMania, which 37, 30, which one was in Dallas?
36,
That would be no 38. WrestleMania 38. This is like he got released, but he was the big guy for WrestleCon. And he had a huge line for WrestleCon. Like you see him, I was like, damn, I really should have spent the money to get a picture with Bray Wyatt. You'd think, oh, next time. And, just weird how the world works out. So, so I love the house. If they could do something for, in future years or even at a WWE Access, I would be all for it.
Ooh, what if they do it like they did in Vegas, where they move it over to WrestleMania this year? What if they move it to, at least as a temporary thing, the week of WrestleMania, which I feel like that's a lot of effort.
I was going to say, that's a lot of effort for a week.
But maybe that's the first one they switch out. Maybe they switch out
that would be good capitalizing.
Oh yeah. You kidding me? How many people would go do that during WrestleMania weekend? There'd be a lot of people knocking at that door.
Well,
You were cooking with that one. You
Yeah,
were cooking
yeah.
with that one.
Chef Ryan in the house.
so to avoid spending all the time on WWE, I guess we should move on to number 7 on my list, which I know is probably around the same on your guys' list as well. My number 7 is the Fallout House, another one of the intellectual property haunted houses here at Halloween Horror Nights that was left a lot to be desired. It was based off of the TV show, not the video game Fallout, which is traditionally now this is the second video game ish based house. Which the first one was Last of Us. I did like this better than the Last of Us house from a few years ago here in Orlando, which they also had in Hollywood. And I thought it was good. It got a lot better throughout the season. There's some cool scenes. You get to go through the Vault 33 into Philly, which is not Philadelphia, but a different kind of Philly. And it was a cool house. I think set design wise, very, very unique, especially for those tents. But yeah, where did you guys put Fallout?
I had Fallout at number 6.
It's about
Yeah,
about the
so
same.
everybody I talked about to Fallout 2, they said they hated the house. And so and that was one of my most anticipated houses coming out. I was like, oh, that's going to be sick. And not a lot of people cared for it. And the one thing I just want to say to all the people that didn't care for it, y'all a bunch of haters. Haters, I tell you. I thought the house was good. Like, good? No, yeah, I'll just leave it at good. It was good. I had low expectations for the people that were saying that they didn't really care for it. I thought what they did in the house worked very well. And I think they could build on top of that with future seasons of Fallout and stuff like that. So, yeah, I thought it was good. I enjoyed myself a lot in the house.
Yeah, I had it at number 8. I like the.
You a hater, I
Yeah,
tell
you're
you.
a hater. You hater.
I mean, I like it better.
You has it at 7. You're a hater for putting it at 8.
Yeah, damn. Oh well. I'm just hating on
Shame.
Fallout. Well, for one, I don't know anything about that franchise, so and I honestly don't remember a lot of it. This is one of the first houses we did. It was one of the 2 back tents, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't remember a lot. I did Hollywood's once. Literally, I was like, okay, one and done for me. This is all right. Even though it's literally a 5-minute wait every single time, I'm just like, I probably should have walked through it a lot more. But I enjoyed it more than Hollywood's, that's for sure. But I don't know. There's not a lot of things I remember from this house. Some of the set design was pretty cool, which you going through this like apocalyptic type of feel. But other than that, I'm like, it's just like a scare. It's just another scare house to me. Like, I don't know. There's just not a lot I remember.
I feel like this is another one of the IP houses where it is there to sell tickets that would have never been sold to people who would never have considered going to the event. And maybe just like WWE, that means they go to Halloween Horror Nights for the first time to see their favorite video game based house. And they go through there. The house is pretty good. And of course, they're not going to just do that while they're there, that they're going to do the other things. They're going to fall in love with the event and go year after year, regardless of if they have, a Fallout house, which we'll get to this in maybe another podcast episode. I think they might do more video game stuff because it seems like that's their formula of okay, let's reach out to these different crowds. And I think Fallout was a solid pick for this year. And a house that maybe would not be considered normally like a scary thing, but I thought the show was great. The first season was good, and it was based off of the show, so I did enjoy it for what it was.
As somebody that did not play the video games and just watched the show, I agree. I thought the show was very good. Enough to where I would want to watch season 2.
Yeah, which is coming out soon. Wait, no, sorry,
Yeah.
no free plugs. We don't need to.
This
sell
episode
subscriptions.
sponsored by Fallout, the second season.
Make sure y'all subscribe to Amazon, Amazon Prime.
Click the little link below to
Presented by Dude Wipes.
So, my number 6 out of my top 10 is a lot of people's number 1, and that would be Jason Universe. This is not based off of one sole movie on Friday the 13th, but it is based off of a lot of different movies. A lot of the third movie in the installment. Correct? Am I correct in saying that?
Uh, yeah, that's like the actual what everybody remembers Jason the Slasher from.
Yeah, at least the first half of the Orlando house is mainly based off of the third movie, and
Yeah,
I
he
thought
wasn't
it was a
even
solid
in the
house.
first movie.
Yeah, that's the thing. In preparation for this, I had only seen, I think, like the fourth or fifth or some a weird Jason movie,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, I'm gonna start watching them all. I watched the first one. I was like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Like, now I know who the mom is.
Right.
They about to drop the on Peacock. It's going to be they're doing a prequel to the first one.
Maybe Jason will be in it. One would hope. But
Yeah.
I like the house. It was in two parts. It was over in where they have the Fast and the Furious supercharged ride, and they used it to like indoor extended queue and an outdoor section. I thought it was solid. Pretty good scares. A lot of people liked it because it was like the scariest house this year. But it's just about like they were just getting in your face, and like if you're automatically built in your childhood scared of this character, it'll be scary. And this was the Blumhouse house this year. Because technically I think Blumhouse owns the character Jason, but not the rights to every Friday the 13th movie. So it's a weird, right?
The Jason, like the whole Friday the 13th character, like just universe, they had like a major lawsuit go through. So originally, the guy that came up with the concept of Friday the 13th, after watching Halloween, wanted to develop Friday the 13th. So he built it up, and I forget which studio was like, yeah, let's do it. Well, he didn't come up with the story of Friday the 13th. He hired a different writer to do it. So the writer did it for the first original Friday the 13th. Well, when they made the second one, the guy that owns it, he basically fired the writer. So because of like legality, the writer could not come after the owner until a whole another 35 years. 35 years later, he sued the guy, and he won in court, and so he owns anything related to the original Friday the
Oh,
13th.
that's wild.
Okay.
So he owns that part. So the owner cannot touch anything that was a part of the original Friday the 13th movie. He can do anything after, just can't do anything before.
Which unfortunately
But
for that writer, Jason's not involved in that. So
for my understanding, though, they did recently reconcile, and then now they're working together.
okay.
But that there was a lot of reasons why you haven't seen a Friday the 13th Jason movie. Was for the lawsuit that was going
It's like,
on.
remember when we were friends? Let's be friends
Oh
again.
well, money talks.
Yeah, oh, of course.
So they were like, all right, you know.
Yeah.
Where did you guys have the Jason Universe house?
So I messed up on my list. I can't read. So I had Fallout. I actually had Fallout 7. I had Jason Universe 5.
Okay.
I thought Jason Universe was really good. It was, I would even say it was like a great house. I love slasher movies, but they don't, when it comes to like actually going to a haunted house, something about my anxiety just jumps up to a 10. And I was scared the whole time I was in that house, especially when we got to the hallway scene. That hallway scene probably has to be in my like one of the scariest, like up there when you get the reveal of the devil in Insidious. Like it's up there. Like the whole time, just like, dude, just get me out of this house. I think I was as close to Ryan as you can be in that house.
I remember going through
Petrified.
there. I don't know if I was going if it was there or in Vegas, but I kept like looking at the scare actors, be like, get him, right? He's so scared. Oh no, that was in Vegas.
That was
When
Vegas,
went
yeah.
That was the Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, he's like, you're his biggest fear. Please go get him with your chainsaw, and they like go after you.
That was hilarious.
Dude, I hate going through slasher houses, man. I'm like, dude, get me up out of here. It was scary. That house, if I had to say anything that was actually scary, terrifying, that has to be the scariest house. I liked it. Can't wait to see what they do again with Jason. But that was probably my number 5.
That was actually my number 1.
Wow.
Yeah,
Number one.
and we almost didn't even go through it because we were running out of time there, and we're like, let's just go do it, and, so we ended up doing it. Man, it was so the one in Hollywood I enjoyed, but it wasn't anything special to me. I was like, all right, that's cool. So I imagine all I heard was this one wasn't as good as Hollywood's. That for whatever reason, that's what I heard.
There
And
were some scares in Hollywood that were like more creative. I'll say that.
right, so when we went through, and it actually, kudos to you, Ryan. You pushed me ahead. You were like, no, you go first, and then like so, and it makes sense now why you did that. But that hallway scene with the fog and like the lining with the whatever the leaves and all that, like that is a wild scene because it just doesn't stop. Like it just keeps going, and that might be my favorite scene of the entire event. Like it's literally what it's meant to be. It's scary. Like it's just slashers in your face at you don't even know where they're coming from. I really really enjoyed that house, and mainly for that scene, to be honest. I don't think anything else that was like overly creative about it, but it was just a really scary, fun house that going through that hallway. I'm telling you, it's wild. It's a wild time.
It was definitely. So for those who don't know, there was a haunted house last year. Now 2 years ago, at time of recording, because the event is officially over. Sad. Um, there was an Insidious haunted house that was revered as like the best house, the scariest house that year. And this was created by the same people who did the Insidious house, or the same one or two
Okay.
directors of that house worked on this one, the layout and all that kind of stuff. So that's also why like that scene at the end with the hallways was so intense. It is that I mean that was kind of pulling from there. There was a scene in the Insidious house that had the main villain in the first movie, or one of the main villains in the first movie, the Bride in Black from the first two movies. That was pretty scary. That's maybe one of my favorite houses of all time, the Insidious one last year. But yeah, it's definitely a solid pick, and I understand why it's number one for some people, and it's number 6 for me. So I apologize. I'm not a hater.
Shame, shame.
You hate
Hey, also,
everything.
yours is also at number 6. Come on, Tex.
No, it was 5. This was
Oh,
5 for me.
oh, okay. Uh, well, 5 for me, since we're moving down the list, very fittingly, is Five Nights at Freddy's. This is the biggest draw at Halloween Horror Nights this year by far. I don't think I'm second biggest draw. Another thing where it's like they're inviting a crowd that maybe would never consider going. Very much so a younger crowd, which this is a good tie-in to mention this, and I'm going to say this in the best way possible. Control your kids. Or maybe mandatory chaperone policy, because the amount of times I had seen high schoolers being escorted out of the park, just in October alone, from the younger crowd that was drawn to the park because of Five Nights at Freddy's being there. It's very much a younger whatever. It got a bit out of hand at times from what I've seen, because again I had been there so many nights during the event. That being said, it was a great house, and I do think it's a great introduction for a lot of people who might want to get into the haunts. But it's also it's a learning experience for a lot of people, because Five Nights at Freddy's is very much like a kid oriented movie video game. Mm-hmm. It's a learning experience to like, okay, this is how this is operated. We are in a single file line. In Orlando, you can't film in any of the houses. The amount of times when I was going through that house alone where people didn't know that was the case, or they were told multiple times they didn't know the severity of them legit kicking you out of the park for filming in the haunted houses and stuff like that. And also like a lot of parents who were bringing 5-year-olds through that haunted house and not realizing that like, oh, they're not going to not do their job because they see there's a kid there. Right. Because most of the time they can't see that there's a kid there. And also you can't just carry a kid through a haunted house if they get scared. Like, you have to walk. Like that's a safety hazard. That's like, so I feel like it is a really, really good house. Loved the house itself. But I do think it should be taken into consideration with like what that brought to the event this year and how it shifted. Animatronics were sick. I'm sure you guys probably have it ranked around the same spot, if not higher. Where were you guys at with Five Nights at Freddy's?
I had it at number 4.
Oh, did you just take my whole list and shift
Oh
it?
yeah,
Like,
I just broke it. I just broke into your house. I was like, there it is. No, it was different from the other houses, which is cool. I feel like you always need one house at HHN that's kind of like not as scary, like kind of like that Beetlejuice, that Ghostbusters house, something just cool to look at. Unfortunately, it always had the highest weight, so it can't really be that much of a cool down house. But it was super cool that to the point I wish Universal would do more stuff with Five Nights at Freddy's just in the parks. Like maybe as like a pizzeria with the animatronics, I think would be
they
sick.
had a pizzeria this year. It was Louis, and they had a cardboard cutout of the animatronics.
Well, maybe they should just put the animatronics in Louis and just give it the whole Five Nights at Freddy's build, and I think that would be sick. Overall, I had.
You're telling me teenagers wouldn't hop up on that stage where the animatronics are and get selfies with these? Come on.
Dude, they did that at Carousel Progress too. So this was a really good house. I enjoyed it a lot. Kind of bummed I've only got to do it twice, but with the popularity of Five Nights at Freddy's and with the second movie coming out this year, I'm almost positive they will do another Five Nights at Freddy's house. So I feel like this is going to probably be a staple, kind of like a Stranger Things where you'll see it every other year type deal.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. They're gonna have a second one next year. I feel like it's a guarantee just because they spent so much money on those animatronics, and they're like, well, if we could just reuse them, they just keep
Yeah, they didn't build those animatronics for a one and done.
Yeah.
More on that later. Well, take my ranking with a grain of salt because it was the first house I did, and I was in between like 25 people, and I put it at 7. And I think just
Shay. Shay.
How dare you?
Now in Hollywood, this was my number 2, and I think it's just the run through I had in Orlando was really bad. That like a lot of the animatronics didn't reset in time for me to see them. So I want to say I only saw maybe 3 of the animatronics, which was kind of wild. And it was just people were, and the thing that you said about the kids, that was true on my run through. It was wild. And the thing was that group would stop and just wait for it to reset, and then it would reset, and it's like 10 people ahead of me. And I'm like, I'm not going to be that guy to just sit there and let it reset again just to see it. So I was like, maybe I'll get another run through later. No, I didn't. But, I mean, aesthetically, it's fun. It's a fun house. It's, basically your nightmares from, like, Chuck E. Cheese when you were a kid. And it's just, in Hollywood, I saw my run-throughs combined, I saw everything I needed to see, so that's why it was so high, and I really enjoyed the aesthetic of it. I think this one I got kind of annoyed, and I think that's why I have it so low. I was just like, this was annoying. This was actually very annoying. And they were really trying to get people through, I think. They weren't pulsing people at all. It was just like, here you go, conga line right through. And, it was fine. It was fine. I wish I would have had another run-through, though.
Yeah, I feel like I was definitely fortunate to go through so many times on these houses that, But no, I mean, I think Five Nights at Freddy's was a solid thing this year. I look forward to seeing it in the future years because it's going to happen. I feel like that's when you exited the house, there was a poster up above you that said, "Oh, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 dropping whatever December 3rd or whenever it's coming out." I was like, okay, well, yeah, that's that's very obvious what's happening here, but it'll be fun. But I guess moving on to 4, we're in the bottom 4 now. For me, not that it's the bottom 4 for everybody else, but I feel like this one is going to be ranked pretty high for a lot of people, at least in terms of original IP houses. Might be the top one for original stuff. That is a house called El Artista, a Spanish haunting. This is very much, again, similar to Graveyard of Flesh, a traditional-ish haunted house. It's basically like a Spanish haunted mansion, minus the hitchhiking ghosts, minus the seance room, but a lot of really cool effects. The main character of the event this year, forgot his name already. This artist, Spanish artist guy. We went to his house basically, and there was some really really good stuff. A big like the main facade of the house was so beautiful. I loved it a lot. It was number one for the full first month of the event for me, but then I had better experiences during the second half of other houses, so it ended up at number 4 at the end of the season for me. Where were you guys at with this one?
This would be this was my number 2.
There you go.
Yeah, I only got to do it once, but it was the one time that we got to do it. I was born and so I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. This is something I feel like you could always kind of maybe in future years bring back, but like a continuation story type deal. This was really cool. I was definitely satisfied with my care with this house.
Yeah, I had it at number 3. Uh, it blew me away, honestly, walking into it. And then a lot of these scenes were just so grand. When you walk in there and you just look up, and it's just the scenes were just really tall, and you're like, you really felt like you were in like that, like kind of like that courtyard or like the middle of that house. Like it really felt real. Like that was really cool. And then some of this wasn't really traditionally like a hallway house. There's a lot more open, which I really liked. So there's a lot of stuff happening around you. That wasn't very, a lot of these houses you can anticipate a scare just because it's a hallway and there's a boo hole coming. And a lot of these it's kind of like, oh, there's something going on to your left, something to your right, something behind you. Like yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was blown away. I think it was the prettiest house of the event for sure.
Yeah, I think this was. I remember telling a lot of friends who went through the house, I'm like, if you go through there, just make sure you look up because there's a lot of stuff. There's like a little zip line thingy where there's flying gargoyle in one of the scenes. As long as you weren't there during a cast changeover, or one of them called out sick that day. And there's stilt walkers in the house. There's a lot of cool open scenes. It's like I said, I love the houses where you like there's a big reveal, some big scene in front of you, and that was so much of this one. Definitely one of the best originals this year. But I have 2 other originals in my bottom 3, which we're getting to now. Which I'm sure these are not all. One of these in my bottom 3 is going to be in your bottom 3 as well for both of you because we haven't talked about it. Well, we'll see. Anyways, number 3 for me is another original one called Gulkin Monsters of the North. This was one that was like very much a Nordic village you went through, and there was all these seance-y things and some big like Burning Man. I feel like in my mind, while I talk about this stuff, I'm like, I don't want to spoil the whole house because people might go through it. The event's over.
Yeah,
we're done. Like it's like, okay, well, it's spoiler free now. Like we don't need to worry about that. But I did really like this one. The ending was so cool where you like went into this the belly of this beast that was eating you maybe. Last night I had one of the best run-throughs ever. That was the last one that I did of the whole season of any houses. That just solidified it at number 3. I walked through the house and I was talking to friends. I was like, listen, that might have been the best run-through of anything that I did this year, but I still have other houses I prefer more. So that's number 3 for me. What do you guys remember from this one? Where did you rank it?
I had it number 8.
Hey, don't be a hater. Come on. How dare you have a different ranking than me?
It was good. Like I said, there's only 2 houses I didn't really care for, but this was a good house. Just not something that for me at the end of the day I'm like, damn, that was memorable. And it wasn't really memorable for me. Not to say that it wasn't good. I did think it was good. This was a strong year. Yeah, but I just leave it at just good.
Just good. Well, I guess it's just good for me too. I had it at number 6.
That's better. Yeah. You're not a hater.
This house feels like you're going through the Norway Pavilion in the Upside Down. Like that's
That is a. I've never heard anybody say that before about that. Is a perfect. That is
yeah.
a perfect way to approach this.
Yeah, I was like, this is pretty sick. Like, I really enjoyed it. I just like my top 5 better. It's just, like, this would be number 1 in Hollywood, I think. Honestly, if this was in Hollywood. Like,
This was not in Hollywood?
no. I think the only thing we had in common were all the IPs. And then that was pretty much it. So.
And then you had an extra one.
Yeah, we had the Monstros 3, whatever it was.
No, Poltergeist. We didn't have Poltergeist.
Oh, you didn't have Poltergeist either. Yeah. We had the extra.
Poltergeist?
Yeah, we had Poltergeist. But it was a repeat from like 5-6 years ago, whatever it was. It was like literally the same house. I was like, okay, all right, cool. I've done this before.
Yeah, but I liked Gulkin a lot. That was definitely one of the top original ones for me. My number 2 house, which I was so technically as of last night, at time of recording, last night was the last night of Halloween Horror Nights. They give out awards throughout the whole event where each scare zone and each house will get like a best scare actor of the year. One of the houses will get the best house of the year. This one won house of the year last night, and that is the Terrifier haunted house. This is the biggest draw to horror fans to the event this year outside of Freddy's, which I don't consider that draw being a horror fan base mostly. But yeah, the Terrifier house and Art the Clown, Wandering Art the Clown, was the big most viral.
Deadifier the clown.
Mr. Terrifier.
Mr. Deadifier.
Can you explain this?
Yes, because we're going to sound very racist right now if we didn't. Well, for one, I'm Mexican, just so you guys understand this. But like in Hollywood, there's a lot of like families and like kids mostly, and then like some of their like parents. The Art the Clown runs around everywhere in Hollywood, way more than in Orlando. Just because in Orlando he gets mobbed, it's wild. I didn't expect that. It's wild how crazy they get in Orlando. But in Hollywood, he's pretty much free. He'll go up to people, scare them, do whatever. But a lot of people don't understand that his name's Art the Clown. They call him Terrifier. They just basically because it's from that movie and the house. So they're like, oh, and you'll hear like an older Mexican gentleman go, Terrifier. And I'm just dying every single time. I was like, oh man, that's like something that like my uncle would do for sure.
But yeah, I mean, subtracting the wandering character, I think the house was super solid. It was like a highlight reel of all 3 movies. It was very gory. Universal was saying beforehand this is the goriest haunted house they've ever done. I don't disagree, but there's been gory like rooms in houses that they've done before that are worse than this. But in general, like the most amount of like blood, quote unquote, in this house was a lot. And if you don't like clowns, then maybe this is not the one for you. And people say it's the scariest because of that, but like I don't have a fear of clowns, and Art the Clown is just a silly guy. He's just a mime who sometimes he's got a weird thing for hurting people, but that's all part of the story. It's not real. Where did Terrifier rank for both of you?
Terrifier was my number 1.
Oh wow.
I still haven't seen the movies. I want to watch the movies, but I'm just not a big dude. I don't like blood and guts a whole lot.
So why did you like this house then?
Because it was dope, man. It was cool. Like I like the whole atmosphere in the house, like the Clown Cafe. It was cool, and I like that. Like I would say that Art was probably the unofficial icon of this year, just of how much attention was onto Art. And I feel like the house did not. It was like a put up, then like a put down. It was to me. I just thought it was really well done. It was such a fun. It was a fun house, but it was also a scary house. If that makes sense. There was like somehow they were able to capture both of them, and I really enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
I think now might be an okay time to issue a public apology. I have not mentioned this publicly yet. I apologize for my video of Art the Clown. Pre-opening night at Halloween Horror Nights 2025. Let me bring some context to this. I didn't do anything wrong, I don't think, but I posted a video during what they call Premium Scream Night, which is the night before. It costs an enormous amount of money for the ticket to that, but you get to get in first, free food, all this stuff. So I went to this Premium Scream Night. I was in the gift shop with my friend Eric, and I was like, we were getting an umbrella because it was so rainy. And I was in there and I see Art the Clown. I'm like, oh, he's interacting with some people, whatever. So I just pull my phone out and I just start recording. And he comes up to me and he's like, you got to buy. Like, he doesn't say this, obviously, because he's a mime. But he's like, oh, you going to get merch from me? And I was like, oh, sure. And, this little interaction that I ended up uploading my Instagram story. And within 2 minutes, I had 5 different people being like, you should post this. Why aren't you posting this, like, to your main Instagram or whatever? I was like, oh, okay. I guess it's worth it. I upload it by the end of the night. It's at 2 million views. And by the end of the season, between Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, it's at 15 million views, which is the most, I think, technically the most viewed video from Horror Nights this year. And that's not for me. That's not me being like, oh, look what I did. Because I just stood there. I was just in the right place, right time. And I do kind of feel bad for that video because, yes, there's other viral videos of Art the Clown from this past year. But it's like, that's why, part of why Orlando was the way it was is because a lot of people would be like, oh, well, I got to get a picture with Art the Clown. I got to get a video, a viral clip that I got to like create. I got to try to, whatever. And like, I put so much effort into my videos, even my like short form videos. I spend like 8 hours editing like an idiot. But like that one, because it was so quick, so easy for me, I was like, I feel bad. But also like for Art the Clown, it changed the event. Not because of me alone, but because of the virality of a lot of the Art the Clown stuff. I feel like it definitely shifted it in Orlando at least. So I just want to say sorry, but the video's still up.
You shouldn't be sorry. That was dope.
No, listen, I understand how cool it was. It was a cool little clip, but it did change Art the Clown, that and a lot of other stuff again. And that was the main thing. And then also like all the wet path, dry path thing with Terrifier this year too. But Brian, where did you put the Terrifier house?
Number 5. Yeah, well, let me explain. So all I heard was Terrifier was going to be the most gruesome, ridiculous house that's ever been made, and it's 100 times better than the one in Hollywood. Which I agree, it is way better than the one in Hollywood. But I honestly went in there and I was like, this isn't really that bad because I've seen like
it was great.
Yeah, I've seen it was good. Don't get me wrong, it was good. I've seen like Texas Chainsaw houses that have been, I think, felt more gruesome than that, and some of the smells were even worse in those houses. Because all I heard was the poop scene is the worst scene, blah blah blah. The bathroom scene is gonna smell really bad, and I was like,
it's the best scene to crop dust in if you got a fart. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. They're gonna know. But yeah, and I think the overall feel to it, I didn't think, I don't know, it didn't hit what I expected it to hit. I was really going in there expecting something really, really gruesome, and it was just like, I think I've seen this stuff before at other houses. Like, I've seen these types of scenes before. It wasn't anything different than, like, gory houses in the past. The only different part about this, and what probably the best part of this entire house, is your choice of the wet path and dry path. Like, you're literally just sprinklers going off in the wet path. Just I was like, what is going on? Like, you're just walking through it, just sprinklers going off on you. And I was like, that's pretty cool. Like, that's a cool like caveat to the house. It's like, okay, you either go through this side and get wet, or you go through this side and get chased by Art. It's like.
Well, no, the thing is that the wet path is supposed to be I'm sure you guys know this, or maybe people don't know what it's the room is, yes, it's water that's being filtered and all this stuff, but it's lit red, so it's like, oh, you're going through like a bloodbath at the end, like it's a gruesome house, and at the end, a lot of people are like, why is it like a water ride, kind of? Why is it, people don't understand, really.
Yeah, I didn't get that vibe. I got like, hey, walk through here and get wet. That's just like pretty much all I got. It was like, hey, maybe it's hot in Florida. Let's just cool these dudes off, and here you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think, yeah. But that's also because I followed everything so closely with the build up to the event that I'm like, okay, well, it's going to have this and this, and, But the regular public was just like, what? Why? I went to the right, and then I got a little wet.
Yeah. Also, I did only do one run on this house, so like it could have been different, And that's, you got to take that, my rankings with that in mind, is that I did limited runs in these houses, so if you don't agree with me, that's probably why.
Yeah, next year I'm not going to be a dumbass. I'm just going to buy the Frequent Fear
I
Plus
I
pass.
don't know why you
As soon as
didn't.
it comes out, we're dropping it. We're getting it,
I've
baby.
told you that all season. I was like, why didn't you buy a pass? You bought 2
Because
tickets,
I'm
and
a
that was like $50 away from the pass.
I was gonna
because
say,
I'm a
like, dude, what?
because I'm an idiot sandwich. That's why.
Well, okay. I'm gonna say my number one, which is not anybody else's number ones because we've already established their number ones. This one was not, at least on my hype list. This was like almost number 10 for me, because it was so similar to a past house that I was not the biggest fan of. Um, there's an original house at Halloween Horror Nights this year called Hatchet and Chains Demon Bounty Hunters. So this haunted house was based off of a single scene from last year's original haunted house called Slaughter Cinema 2, which is a sequel to Slaughter Cinema 1. I know, lots of lore, very confusing. But the room was like a cowboy room, and it was like a bounty hunter who was going after these demons, and it was a fun room in a pretty fun house. And I was under the impression it's like, oh, it's just gonna be a bunch of like the same thing over and over again. But I feel like as a tent house, this is in one of the tents at the back of the park by Simpsons. This was like the most dynamic that they could have done. There was some cool secret lore that maybe not everybody knows about the house that they were mentioning during behind the scenes tours, and then they were told to stop mentioning during behind the scenes tours, which I could share now, which I mean isn't like the end of the world. But there are certain Easter eggs in that house because it takes place during this, early 1900s time period with cowboys and stuff like that, where the main character of the house that you follow throughout the house and then at the end ends up dead. His name is Arthur. And at the last scene, he's got an axe sticking through his skull, and he's currently writing a letter to a character named Abigail, which is semi-love interest, not love interest because she's married to a different character in Red Dead Redemption Part 2. And I think that was a cool, fun little Easter egg there. There's a bunch of Easter eggs to old Halloween Horror Nights icons, things like that. And overall, throughout the event, I grew to love this one more and more, and it was shocking to me because the tent that it's in has always been like one of my least favorite houses of the event. Consistently not that great, but I love this one a lot. Really, really fun. Some interesting burning smells the whole time, which I wasn't the biggest fan of, but I got past it because I love the house so much, and that was my number one. Where was Hatchet and Chains Demon Bounty Hunters for you guys?
It was my number 6 house.
Hater! You're just a hater.
I feel like you had like 5 number 6s.
Yeah, listen. If somebody were to go by and do your list, it'd be a lot of like 5, 6, and 7s. I don't think you said 10 for anything.
Check the scoreboard, bro. Check the scoreboard.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this was my number 6. A very fun house. I think it was very cool when you told me about the Red Dead Redemption thing. I was like, oh, that's unique. I love cowboys. That's Western style stuff. That's my bread and butter right there. So it was a very cool house.
I never would have guessed Big Texas.
What? Back when I was a little Texas, we played Cowboys and Indians. So yeah, this house was good.
Yeah, solid. I had it at number 2.
Whoa! Hell yeah! Not
Yeah,
a hater.
No.
Certified not hater.
Dude, they packed in a lot in this house. Like for a tent house, I was like, for one, the facade was really cool. Just an old Western themed kind of shack thing. They had a dead horse in the front, kind of thing. I was like, so we've been walking in. Some of these scenes were crazy, like the slamming of the boards to the floor, and like, because you're just like, you feel that. You almost feel like it's hitting your feet. You're like, oh crap. You're like, that's really close. Reality, it's nowhere near you, and it's behind a wall. But there's also that, and then there's the bullet hole scenes, and just the train scene. There's just a lot that they packed into this house, and the aesthetic of it. And I really like. I'm from California, but I really like that like ghost town Western feel. I grew up going to Knott's Berry Farm, so I really enjoy that type of feel.
It was very like ghost town alive, kind of. Obviously, scarier. than
Right.
Ghost Town Alive. But I now that you say that, yeah, it was very much similar characters. Obviously, it's the old Western theme, so you're gonna feel that. But yeah, it was like just a Ghost Town Alive if like the demons possessed a lot of the characters, you know.
Yeah.
What a year, guys! What
It was
a
a
year!
good year,
It was a
man.
good year. I'm already ready for next year. Next year we're getting that freaking free plus, baby.
Oh boy.
I would ask you guys what you're expecting or hoping for next year, but do you have anything to say to anybody?
Oh, we're having a second episode this week, baby.
Oh yeah.
We
Bonus
spent
bonus
all our
episode.
we spent all our money on Ryan, so he had to
I'm,
come back for a second
I'm doing
episode.
this for free, guys. No.
It was
I
two
just
boxes of Uncrustables, both strawberry and grape.
Oh yeah.
listen. I thank you guys so much for giving me an outlet to talk about this because you guys know because you've watched my stuff, but maybe a lot of people haven't. But like I'm really putting a lot of time into each of my videos that I do for Halloween for YouTube in general now. That like I only had one video this year on Halloween Horror Nights, and I don't, especially with like now I'm covering history stuff. I don't have an outlet to talk about this stuff. So I obviously will jump at the opportunity to hop on and chat about Halloween Horror Nights, which is my favorite event of the year. It's what makes Universal Studios Florida my favorite park because I do consider that as a key part of that theme park. And I cannot wait for next year.
I feel like for 2025, you are I think the headline of my horror season this
Oh,
year, and I'll
100%.
explain because you had your video, and then you had your thing that you did with the Bracken brothers that was really cool. And every time I've done HHN this year, I done it with you. So
Yeah.
and we did HHN Vegas. So you were the
It's
headline of my horror
Horrors
this year.
Unleashed. Horrors Unleashed. Well,
Yeah.
there's no
you
HHN
You got to
Vegas.
get the name right, okay? Or else they're not going to invite us to stuff.
Universal Horror Unleashed TM. Yeah, we don't.
Dude, I really hope Horrors Unleashed is still around in Vegas in April when I go back.
it'll
I'm gonna go
be-
do it.
The building will be
I'm
around.
gonna go do
in
it.
April.
Like the building will be around. It'll be a Spirit Halloween, but it'll be
I gotta
around.
see how it is when it's a ghost town.
Dude, we were very close to actually being there when it was a ghost town. That place emptied out pretty quick.
Dude, that was the second day.
Yeah, day 2 when we went there, it was pretty empty.
Yeah. But I did enjoy it.
Ryan, do you want to plug anything before we get out of here on this episode?
No, because it's Halloween Horror Nights, and I YouTube channel. Follow my YouTube channel. For the love of theme parks. I'm working on a fun video that's coming out in a couple weeks, maybe, depending on when I finish it. On something to do with New York and Walt Disney. We'll see. That's it.
Right on.
Brian, do you want to get us out of here?
Yeah. You have anything else? You don't have anything else at all?
I got
You
nothing
guys are all
else.
good? Because if I end it, it's ended. It's done. It's completely done. All right. Well, anyway, yeah. Thank you for watching this episode of the Wildest Ride podcast, and we will catch you on the next one.
Peace.